I think I like to be so open because I really don't like to be a liar, and I don't like when people take things from me. Disney specifically has its prim and perfect box, and I never was that girl. Do I think that social media is my main job though? No, definitely not. It's just a job that I make more money in. Mm-hmm. So I do it a lot. I mean.
Thank you so much for watching Profile. I'm joined now by actress, singer, and writer Bella Thorne. Her book of poetry, The Life of a Wannabe Mogul, is out next month. Bella, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me. What's up, guys? What's up? What's up? Hi, hello.
Bella, you're 21, but you have what I think of as an immense amount of control over your life and over your image and over your career, which is wonderful. How did you navigate that?
Navigating or kind of just stumbling through it all? I don't really know. I kind of just, it's like, what can you do? You just do. And you just keep living, and you deal with the problems that come at you when they come at you, cross that bridge when you get to it, and then that sucks for a while, and then that's over, and then you're on to the next situation. And it's kind of just, I don't know, you just keep just doing it.
Not only are you in control of your career and doing all of these things, but you are very specifically not being put into a box or not allowing yourself to be put into a box. You've just written a book of poetry. You're also an actress. You are a singer. You're doing so many things at once. When people try to tell you, stick to one thing, or they try to tell you, oh, well, just do this. Like, how does that make you feel? How do you get away from that?
Oh, most of the time it makes me feel very angry.
Yeah?
Yeah. Most of the time I'm like, when somebody on my team tells me that, I'm like, okay, I know this is going to sound harsh, but like, you might as well just... You might as well be fired because you clearly don't know me at all. You don't know my background. You don't know where I come from. You literally don't know that every single thing in my life, everyone said, you can't do it. You literally cannot do it. And I still did it anyway. Like, you tell me something's too hard, or, oh, just do this one. Really concentrate on that thing. Like, that's just, you don't even know me. So therefore, you shouldn't even be on my team because clearly you're just pitching for the wrong team. Like, this is just not who I am. So most of the time, yeah, it's very aggravating, just really annoying. But, you always prove them wrong, and you just keep showing them, like, watch me do this, watch me do that. People are like, oh, this can't stop. Like, she's out here.
And you do not just many things, but I would also say that you share a lot of yourself, quite a bit. And specifically in this book of poetry, you go into everything. You go into childhood, love life, public perception, all of it. Did you find the process of writing those things down therapeutic?
Yeah, therapeutic, cathartic.
I sometimes would say cathartic because I feel like it's both expressing and making me lethargic.
Yeah.
Like exhausting me. You may have just come up with something that's more correct.
I do come up with a lot of weird combinations of words. I say distravesty a lot, which is just an interesting combination to it. Anyway, what did you ask me?
Essentially, like, did you find it therapeutic to be able to write all of these things out in the book and share them in your voice and through poetry?
Yeah, no, it's definitely therapeutic. It's is therapeutic, and it brings you right back to those memories and those times. And so that as well is kind of difficult if you keep revisiting them, but that's the only way to get better. You can only get, I really believe that the only way to get over that happened to you that you think is the hardest that happened to you is to live in it again and again and again and again until you're no longer uncomfortable by it. It's just, it is what it is. It's just a sandwich to you. It's just anything else. It's just not that important anymore. Because if you spend so much time getting away from it, as soon as that thing comes up, it's like a stab. And you're like, oh, this is really affecting me. And then it feels like it's crushing you, and it just keeps crushing you and bringing you so far down. And so I like to say that the world is my therapy, in the sense that I'm very open and I talk about all that I've been through a lot, because if I don't, I really think that it would be crushing me. So the book is definitely that in a much broader sense.
One of the things that you wrote about and referenced specifically in a poem that you've read out loud a few times is the accidental death of your father when you were young. What's it been like sharing that process and that grieving process and that sort of like that missing piece with the rest of the world?
It's been interesting. You know, I think a lot of people think that if you're going to write about your dead father, you're probably going to say like a lot of really great things and such. And what I like about all the stuff that I'd written is like, no one's parents are perfect on either side. And they all equally have, you know, they're not so great things, just as we will when we have kids. And a lot of the stuff that I wrote about him is there's some really good, and I think that there's definitely some questionable things. And yeah, it's good to have in there, because he doesn't get to be a hero just because he's dead. Like, I'm sorry, I don't believe that just because somebody died, it makes all of the things that they did better. Makes them not as bad. I don't believe that. If they were alive, you'd still be judging them as harshly, but because they're dead now, you're like, oh, we really miss him. We love him so much, you know. And not that my father ever did anything bad, but you know, as well as you blame your problems on your parents, definitely the two of them together, you know, they're my muse.
I feel that. I've had someone writing a memoir and my parents are all over it, whether I want them to be or not.
Yeah,
they're part of
embedded
everything.
in it. Yeah,
the good or the bad.
I think you realize that as you start to get older, is the more you run away from your background and everything that makes you you, the more you see how much it really is you. And you're like, I just should stop running from it, because it's right here.
At some point, you got to face it and you've got to use it.
It's all over me.
Yes. Yes, you can't run away from it. You're absolutely right. I also know that you composed an accompanying album to go along with the poetry book, of Vinyl, but that was with Mod Sun, your ex. Are we still going to get that? Is that still coming out?
Yeah, that's still coming out.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was finished before we broke up, luckily, so it's in the safe zone. But it's really great. It's a beautiful piece of work. Me and Maud, we went in on it. We cried over it. He really helped me bring my vision to life for the vinyl, which was super important. It's really dark. I will say it opens with a motorcycle. There is a crash midway through. It's out there. It's just like it's an experience. And if you're depressed, maybe not the best one to listen to. I will say it's a little out there, but it was really interesting to make and like sit down and really pick it apart and then put sounds to describe my words, which that's a weird process.
It's an understandably weird process. I think a lot of us, when we feel our feelings, we don't really think about the way our feelings sound. We don't think about what tone.
Yeah, what tone is it in?
Are you feeling like you're in a different tone now than you were when you were making that album?
Well, I mean, the vinyl is in the tone of the book. The tone of the book is definitely from all parts of my life. I specifically dated things so that you know that that's what I thought. And I grew and I changed and my ideas are different now and my opinions are different. And that's just a part of life. You don't agree with yourself, what you thought, what you once were. But I thought I had to have them in there because that's part of growing up, part of growing in general. And so with the vinyl, it's definitely in that whole range of emotion. Right. But I feel like I'm doing better in general. Like, I feel like I'm doing pretty good right now, you know. obviously I talk a lot about depression and anxiety and things that are kind of a vicious cycle that seem like they'll never end. And that's always something that I'm still figuring out and whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, you've grown up very publicly and you still decide to share with so many people. You still decide to be open. You let people know you are bisexual. You let people know that you had dealt with childhood abuse. You let people know all of these things about you. What does it give you to share?
I don't know.
Have you been thinking about it a lot?
Yeah, definitely, especially with the book and it being so deep and out there and, you know, poetry based. So I'm worried people are going to take my words and spin them about and make them even worse than they already are, which it doesn't need any help. But I think I like to be so open because I really don't like to be a liar, and I don't like when people take things from me. That makes me feel really bad about myself. I realize that a lot. Like if I am out with someone and somebody else takes a photo of a private moment we have, it feels like they're taking something from me that I had, but I don't have it anymore. Now everyone has it. And so therefore I have to go out of my way to say, let me do it first. I will post it myself. I will. And people are like, wow, you're just so out there. Of course, because everyone stalks me. And if I don't put it out there, everyone else gets to put it out there, and everyone else gets to have something of me that I didn't necessarily want to give them. And I already give a lot of myself in general. So the book is a nice way of just being like, here it is.
Right. My narrative.
Whatever you guys think now. All right? Whatever. I'm out. Like, literally. Here it is.
Now, aside from an artist, aside from a writer, singer, actress, there are people who would describe you, because of the social media use, as an influencer.
Oh,
right?
That's a fun word.
I mean, it's a loaded word. Like, some people really embrace influencer. Some people are somewhere in the middle. And then there are people who completely reject it. But how do you define it? Like, when somebody says influencer, what do you think of?
Unfortunately, I think of just this negative connotation that's around the word influencer. And people are like, oh, my God, like, you're an influencer, like, you know, wow. You're just like, oh, that sounds awful. But really, influencer is somebody who influences, and you're influencing people. You're influencing the youth. So technically, there's nothing better to be than an influencer. That's what would you want to do nowadays in the world that we live in besides change at least people's opinions about that needs to change? What do you want to do more in your life other than influence the youth that you didn't have, the influence that no one gave you? So really, there is no better form of the word, but unfortunately, it's just has all of this negative things around it, because obviously anything good, there's a lot of bad. And that just is what it is about everything. Do I like to consider myself an influencer? No. Do I have influence? Yes. Do I think that social media is my main job, though? No, definitely not. It's just a job that I make more money in. So I do it a lot. I mean, like, you know.
I think a lot of people should be able to understand that. I feel especially a lot of artists should be able to understand that, I think. Absolutely. When you rose to fame on Shake It Up, though you had been working before that, absolutely, did you feel that Disney pressure to appear perfect?
I think that everyone knows that's a definite, you know, it's there's already a box in general coming up from being a child actress, you know, actor in general. But Disney specifically has its prim and perfect box. And, you know, I never was that girl. Like, I'm a little girl. I was always the little kicker. I was never you know, I just wasn't, that wasn't never me. And that was pretty obvious. It just always had been. And so them putting me in this box was really a hard box for me to obtain. And I was just talking about this earlier, that people think that Disney stars go crazy, but they're not going crazy. They're like, I can't obtain this picture of me that you want anymore. So slowly you think I'm going crazy, but really I'm just trying to get to normal, whatever my normal is. Because this person that you love so much, it's literally not me. I don't know who that is, and I don't want to be that. And so therefore you think, oh my God, look at them making different decisions, wearing different outfits, changing up their style, their hair, their makeup, they're going crazy, getting piercings and tattoos. But like, no, you just weren't able to do it before. And now, you know, I also think it's ridiculous. Like, why wouldn't you think that anybody at every age in their life, and especially
Would
from
just be
16 to 20, is going to go through the alternative phase, the indie phase, the this phase, the taking a lot of polarized phase. Partying. Like, why wouldn't you? Like, of course, it's life. Like, what do you mean? Like, of course they're going to go all over their map. They're just doing it in the public eye with paparazzi at every single moment in time, capturing it. And so therefore, it being blasted in your face, you're like, whoa, look at that change. That's such a big one. But if this person was just going to your school or you just
wouldn't
knew
even
them,
notice.
yeah, you'd be like, oh yeah, like, you know, they're chilling with that crowd now. Like, cool. Like, it wouldn't be a big deal, but it is, of course, it is a big deal for us. So over here, it was a huge deal.
And I know that you have a lot of gratitude for what you've been able to do, and you've said that before, but do you ever look back and think, but I just wish I didn't do this during this time in my life? Like, maybe I just wish I hadn't been a child actor, or, you know, I wish I would have been able to come at this with a different perspective or under different circumstances, because you went into it also at a certain point being the breadwinner in your family as a child.
Yeah, it's a hard one. It's, you know, if I spent all my time saying, I wish maybe I'd just be miserable.
Yeah.
I'd just be a sadipus. I'd just be like, oh, look at all those years of my whole life that I never did jack but work. I never had friends. I never went on school field trips. I never went to a game with my friends. I never did anything normal at all that kids do when you grow up. And if I spent my time thinking about why or what if, then I would actually be a very miserable person, because I would just be like, that's just so. Do I want it for my child? No, obviously not. If my child is going to go outside or read a script, that's a hard one. Obviously, you want them to read the script. You want them to be good at what they do, what they love. But at the same time, you have to be the person that says, I need to weigh these out because I'm the adult, and maybe they really need to go play outside, or go play outside and read the script outside.
Right.
2 in 1. Bro, it's crazy. Who knew you can mush these together? But, you know, it is what it is. And I have such an amazing work ethic that no one my age I know has. And everyone constantly is like, damn, B, what the? How are you so just like, every time you are in it and you just don't stop and you keep going and you never break, and it's crazy. And, you know, sooner or later I will. I'll probably just shatter like a little just creep. But for most of the time, you know, it's like if I wasn't working my whole life, I definitely wouldn't have this crazy, exhausting work ethic that I have. Right. So I'm very thankful.
There's something there.
Yeah.
You know, there's always a little bit of a silver lining, I think, whether or not it makes up for the whole entirety of the thing. Sometimes that's not even the question, and it's not even the thing you need to be worried about. It's forward,
it's just
not
the only
backward.
thing you can take from the situation. You're like, I'll take that happiness.
I'll take that.
one.
Did you have a person when you were coming out of the Disney thing and really coming into your own and being able to have that control over your life and career and image that you hadn't had before? Was there a person that you looked up to and thought, okay, that's what I'm trying to get to, or that situation is what I'm trying to get to, or just being in that place?
No.
Was it hard to find somebody? Because, I mean, it sounds really lonely. So then it's like, if it's such a singular experience, who do you look to? Like, who do you look for to see what the development or the growth of that experience looks like?
You have to look to yourself. You can't you can't look at someone else's decisions and make them your own. You can't learn from someone else's decisions. You can think you can. You can take that into your mindset all day long. But at the end of the day, that doesn't actually change you. The only way that you can literally change is by actually going through it, unfortunately. And so I never really looked up to people in that sense or said like, oh, I should do it like that, because nothing like that was even relating to me. Nothing even close enough to me as a person of what I want, what I think, how I am, what I look like. Like nothing is even comparable in that sense, because every person is so literally unique. So you can't have someone else's experiences and you can't learn from them. And you can't model yourself after someone else either, because you'll look in the mirror and say, who the is that? So I don't know that person. And that is just not a fun place to be. Let me tell you, not a fun place to be.
Can't imagine. I don't think it would be. Have you found that over time, being more and more of yourself, being open more and more about different parts of yourself? I know last year you came out as bisexual. It's Pride Month. Has that brought more peace for you?
I mean, it has, because I don't have to hide anything. Like I said, like I don't want to be a liar, and everybody's going to find out anyway, so I might as well say it myself, because you're going to think I'm lying if I don't, because you're going to be like, why didn't you tell us? I mean, she must be lying then. It's ridiculous over here.
And that's because other people don't understand the difference between privacy and secrecy.
Yeah, But when it's kind of obvious, I feel like.
I think so too. I think so too. I'm with you.
I mean, I think things are easier. I feel like things are pretty easy for me right now in general. Like I feel pretty good about my mindset. I mean, I've got a lot of going down, of course, not so fun stuff, but I feel light. My mind feels light, and it doesn't always feel light. So I'm going to hold on to this until it feels heavy again.
I like that. That's real smart. And you've now worked, TV and film, all of these things. What's next for you to conquer? Because I feel like you really could do anything, and that if you decided to, that it would just get done. So just go ahead and give me the heads up, girl. Like, what should I be looking out for?
Writing and directing. That's definitely the next thing that I really want to conquer. I'm writing a series right now. Our announcement's going to come out soon in the next 2 weeks, so I'm really excited. Written it from my heart. It's out there. It's a very dark show. And I get to co-direct it with this amazing director who I love, and I'm just so honored to even just be co-directing with, even in the same room. I'm just like, this is dope. I got really lucky. And yeah, I've just been directing a lot of music videos and just a lot of different random stuff. And I feel very happy when I have my fingers in every pot in that sense, and acting is not enough for me in that way, that it can only fulfill me so much. When I direct, I do the lighting. Like, I'm really specific over here. Like, I'm like, I know exactly what I want, and I want all these things.
That's vision.
Yeah. I've got a very strong vision. There you go. Very particular vision.
I like that. We've got some audience questions for you real quick, okay?
All right.
So first we're going to start with Brianna.
Hey.
How do you balance still having a life on social media while managing your privacy?
Oof, yeah, I don't know that balance is the key word I'd use for me on that one. I think I'm kind of just I don't really know. Ask me another one. Ask me something else.
It's okay not to know. And we have another audience question. We have one from Taylor.
I was just wondering, do you have any advice for any up-and-coming actresses?
Acting is not something that is a hobby. It's not something that you want to do on your off time. It's something that billions of people around the world want so bad, they're literally willing to die to get it. And if you don't want it bad enough, then don't do it, because you're wasting a spot for a kid that wants it so bad they'll do anything to get it. And acting is the industry is such a vicious place that honestly you need it that bad to get anywhere, because you will get stepped on again and again and again and again and again, and it will eat you alive. And you have to be so strong to conquer it, and you don't want it to conquer you. So if you think it's going to conquer you, I don't want to do it. It's not a good place to be.
So don't get conquered.
Yeah,
that's what I'm hearing. Don't get
industry.
conquered. Bella, thank you so much for joining me today. I had a really, really, really good time having this conversation.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
No problem.
Yeah.
And thank you for joining us. Thanks to our lovely audience. Look at these wonderful people. We'll see you all back here next week.